Well, you may have guessed it. We are looking at triangles now in math. Triangles are three-sided polygons. They have three sides and three angles. Triangles can come in a huge variety of shapes. They can have all sides the same length, they can have all angles the same, they can have them all different. So many different types of triangles out there. However, when we look at triangles, there's a few things that are always the same. Triangles always have three sides. Triangles always have three angles. Triangles always have an interior angle sum of 180 degrees. That's something we'll talk more about later. But if I was to measure this angle between these two line segments, this angle between these two segments, and this angle between these two segments, they would all add up to 180 degrees. So, while we're talking about angles, there was a reason I had you look at angles and types of angles before we began looking at triangles. We are now going to actually classify classify triangles by the kinds of angles they contain. So if you look back here at group A, B, and C, I'll be very interested to see where you placed this triangle to see what you noticed was different amongst them. But when I look at them, I actually sort them by their angles. And that's how I would classify them. If you'll notice, this group of triangles all have one right angle, just like this triangle over here. This triangle contains one right angle. And so therefore, I name all the angles in this group as right-angled triangles. That's the name of any group of triangles that has one right angle. It can't have two right angles or three right angles because then it would no longer have three sides. It would have to have more than three sides. If I tried to draw a triangle with more than one right angle, the two outside line segments couldn't meet. So it couldn't possibly be a triangle. So as long as it has one right angle, then it is a right-angled triangle. And I'll just put that in brackets. One right angle, and then of course, two acute angles. Okay, well what about this one? Do you see any right angles in these triangles or this big triangle? Or what do you notice about all the angles in these triangles? I notice that all of the angles are less than 90 degrees. Therefore, I actually call it an acute angled triangle. All of the angles are less than 90 degrees. So I call it an acute angled triangle. That's what all of these triangles are called. Finally, look at group C and this little triangle down here. You'll notice, of course, it has two acute angles, but if you look at this angle over here, you'll notice it's greater than 90 degrees. Do you remember what the name of that kind of angle is? It's called an obtuse angle. And if a triangle contains one obtuse angle, then it's classified as an obtuse angled triangle. So if I was to put these over, I would actually bring this one up here beside my right angled triangle. I'd bring this one down here beside my acute angled triangle, and I would bring this one up here with my obtuse angled triangles. So now I'm going to look at this one that I would, from the Minds On activity, where would I put this one if I was going to classify it according to its angles? You're right, I see acute acute, acute. So it would go up here with my acute angled triangles. So now you're going to go over and look at today's part of the Google Doc, and you are going to sort some triangles by their angles. There's also a couple of videos and some games to help you practice sorting by angles.